It's nice that you brought up the topic of the string just to wrap up, because I'm having an issue with this finger of mine here, and I started lowering the gauges to try to improve, right? And I got to 08, and I really liked it. I started talking about it, man. And it was a topic that kind of went viral in our circle. And you also talked about it, and I see a lot of comments, this lettuce hand thing, you know? Lettuce hand, no eights, no lefts. But in the end, man, what matters is the guy's sound.
What matters is the sound.
Plays with 01, 02. Is it cool? Then it's cool. The guy plays with 08, 09. Is it cool? BBK uses 08.
Billy Gibbons, USA 08.
7. He has a 7. It's really good. A bunch of teams. Ed Van Ryck used 9. Is anyone going to complain about Ed Van Ryck because he didn't have energy? Jimmy Page is 09. Jimmy Page is 09. 09 in English, Paul. 09 became a new standard, I think, right, man? But anyway, when you take a 09 from Fina, half a tone down, you still have more comfort than a 09. I think it should be a little closer to 08. When I played your guitar here, I said, wow, but it's smooth.
But sometimes when I bend the strings with adrenaline or a heavier hand, I have to be a bit careful. But when I go through some shows, the tour, after a few days, I start to get a bit more used to it.
Yeah.
It's muscle memory. It's not necessarily the strength itself. It's muscle memory.
Yeah. You've conditioned yourself to play with a certain string gauge for years and years. You'll have to condition yourself to play with the new strings. Yes. And there's also that issue, man, that we didn't talk much about, which is a problem Steve Ray Vaughan had, which was pain, man, tendonitis. And he started lowering the gauge. You're aware of that, right? Yes, I'm aware. Maybe if he were alive today, he'd be using 0.9, 0.10, I don't know.
The legend you hear is that when he got clean, right? Because he was an addict, right? He used various drugs and such. When he cleaned up, got sober, really, he started feeling pain in his fingertips, which he hadn't before. Then he lowered it.
He died young, like in his 30s, wasn't it?
I think it was 39 or 40.
Yeah. So, like, now we're starting, man, to recognize problems that we didn't talk much about in the past, you know? Many musicians with tendonitis, focal dystonia. And there's also that thing you mentioned in the beginning, it was heavy strings because that's what was available. So, please know, man, I'm going to use Aero 13 because the guys in the 50s used Aero 13. If those guys had options, we would have many musicians who would use other options, right?
There's a famous recent video. It was The Red Show. There's a YouTube channel. I don't know if you know it.
Don't know.
The Red Show and Rick Beato.
Rick Beato, I've seen.
Yeah, they did that test of recording with lighter strings. Then you see that the definition of the 09 seemed to be the winner in the ranking, right? Like in terms of tone and such.
It was the 09. It was the 09. They noticed that it even had a much more defined low end than in 0111 or a 012.
It must be the fundamental issue of hearing.
But in this approach, when you start listening to the tests they do, man, what you start noticing is, okay, in terms of tone, man, it didn't change. There's not that thing like, oh, the sound came fuller. We used to have a lot of that. No, the sound came fuller on the 11. It came fuller on the 9 because of this more defined low end. Then wow, man,
There's another thing that people don't realize, which is how important the position and height of the pickups are.
Oh, for sure.
Because, for example, there's no right place for it to be. It has to be by ear. The adjustment has to be by ear according to the type of string you use, type of pedal, type of amp, type of playing style, and so on. But, for example, it's a magnet, right? If it's too close to the string, it will interfere with the string's vibration. Yes. It gives more depth, and it will mess with the sustain, right? It will completely mess with the sustain. Then, for example, if you use a heavier string, even more so, the note's definition as well. The note's definition. If you're going to use a heavier string, the magnet will pull the string even more. So, you have to lower it more. So, for example, sometimes it's not necessarily the heavy string. It might not be the best option, right? Because it won't work as well with the magnet. So, you really need to have all this fine-tuning to get the result.
There are several factors to consider, right, man? For example, active pickups, we usually place them a little closer to the string. So if you use a very heavy string, what you mentioned really happens. And I noticed this when I switched my Les Paul from 11 to 10. I noticed that, man, it's different. There's something different. Then later I realized, oh, man, look at that. Right? There are these little details.
So many other things involved. Like, for example, I always travel with a screwdriver. And my pedals, they don't have a fixed setting. I've seen people who put tape on the pedal, that kind of thing, to be able to mark the setting. But for me, it's every room, will sound different. In the studio or on stage or in this venue, this bar, this place, it sounds different. So for me, it's that which will tell me how I'm going to approach it, whether I'm playing loud enough or not. So all of this, sometimes even the bass, during the sound check, I take the screwdriver, lower it, I think. And not only that, but also at every moment we hear things differently. For example, this tour I just did, I'm recovering from a cold, my ears are quite clogged, I'm hearing things differently, and even though I have to think, no, but I have to let it be. The sound, great for the crowd too, but at the same time, I have to make it good for me, for it to be comfortable for me, so I've been adjusting the tones of this tour according to my clogged ears, like according to how you're feeling that day. There are days when you wake up with good energy, everything sounds wonderful to you, and there are days when you're kind of down, like, damn. Today I'm sad, I'm not feeling great, then you find the tone that speaks to you at that moment, right?
And there's something I was seeing yesterday reading, man, about the impact of humidity on sound. Damn, man, humidity impacts a lot. It's not a little. That's why sometimes we say, man, I'm in the same place from one day to the next. The sound changed. But why? One day can be more humid than the other. That's really crazy, right?
Really crazy, really crazy.
There are so many variables, right, man?
We're now arriving to do these shows, right? Like, Brazil is more humid, right? Here in Rio, very humid, right? Fortaleza, too. And Paul, it's sticky, right? The hand gets really sticky. Because Los Angeles is a desert, right? Really dry. It's a different thing. It's another adjustment, right? That's true.
Thank you for watching this segment of the Starling Cast. You can watch the full episode here in the video description. And take the opportunity, if you're a guitarist, to join the largest virtual school in Brazil exclusively for guitarists by scanning the QR code or in the video description. I'll be waiting for you there.